Most people think the greatest risk they face from flooding is property damage. Every year, that belief gets people killed. Flooding is deadly before, during, and after the water rises, and winter flooding makes it even worse. Today, I'm going to walk you through the top 10 greatest threats you and your family face in a flood emergency and how to avoid making these deadly mistakes. If you're new to this channel, my name's Jeff. With more than 30 years of real-life experience in emergency preparedness, response, and recovery, it's my heart that none should perish. Remember, the difference between a disaster and an inconvenience is your level of preparedness, and the clock's ticking. So let's get to it. Number 1, waiting too long to evacuate or thinking you can just write it out until you realize you can't. And by that point, evacuation is usually impossible. Roads become impassable, escape routes disappear, and emergency services, well, they stop responding. Late or delayed evacuation is a leading cause of flood-related deaths. Make the decision to evacuate early and quickly. And the number one thing that makes evacuating fast and easy is having an Evac-Pack or a go bag prepared ahead of time. If you don't already have one put together, don't wait. Click the link below and sign up for my free ebook right now and build your Evac-Pack today. On to number 2, being swept away in swift water or experiencing cold shock and then drowning. This is the leading cause of flood deaths. Flood water moves faster and creates deceptively more force than it seems. It only takes about 6 inches of moving water to knock a grown adult off their feet, and small children and pets, well, they're even more susceptible. And just 1 foot of moving water can sweep a vehicle right off the road. In winter, the risks increase dramatically because the cold shock of floodwaters will cause you to gasp and panic. And if you manage not to suck in a huge breath of water, within minutes, your muscle control will drop and your ability to think and move or swim diminishes very rapidly. People drown before they even realize they're in trouble. The rule is simple. Don't enter the water, not on foot and not in a vehicle. No exception. Which leads me to number 3. Having a false sense of confidence just because you're in a vehicle. The most common fatal mistake is people thinking they can make it across. They can't. Cars float, engines stall, roads wash out underneath, and bridges fail. Water always wins. And if the road is covered even by a little bit of water and you can't see it, don't test it. Number 4, electrical hazards. Floodwater and electricity is a lethal combination. Down power lines, live outlets, energized water inside homes, the risk of electrocution continues long after the waters have receded. Never assume the power is off and safe. Number 5 is structural collapse. Flooding undermines foundations and it weakens buildings silently. Foundations shift, floors fail, load-bearing walls weaken. Buildings can collapse without warning. Many injuries happen during re-entry after floodwaters have receded, not just during the flood itself. Don't enter buildings that have been subjected to flooding or moving water until they've been inspected and deemed safe to enter. Number 6, contaminated water. Floodwater is not rainwater. It contains raw sewage, chemicals, fuel, bacteria. Cuts or wounds plus floodwater equals infection, and drinking contaminated water can lead to illness or disease. Never drink water from systems that are compromised by flooding, and never wade through floodwater unprotected. Which ties into number 7, hidden debris and injuries. You can't see what's under the water. There could be glass, nails, metal, barbed wire, open manholes, or any number of hazards. Cleanup injuries in the aftermath are extremely common. Make sure you're wearing boots, wear gloves, and use proper PPE or protective clothing and equipment. Number 8, carbon monoxide poisoning. This kills people long after the flood. Using generators indoors or improvised heating devices, vehicles running near garages, carbon monoxide has no smell. By the time you feel it, if you feel it, it's too late. Ensure that the equipment you're using in or around poorly ventilated areas is designed for use indoors. Number 9, infrastructure and supply failure or disruption. Floods disrupt utilities and can shut down emergency services, and deliveries of fuel, food, water, and critical medications cease. Shortages often last longer than people expect. Recovery can take weeks, sometimes months, but not just days. If you're re-entering a flood-impacted area to return home, be prepared to be self-sufficient with supplies, gear, and temporary living quarters, like a camper or RV or a tent, for 2 weeks at a minimum. And number 10, displacement and long-term stress. Flood recovery is slow and exhausting. Families face long-term displacement and insurance delays. And mold growth, well, that begins within 48 hours. Surviving the flood is only half the fight. Ensuring that you have the necessary documents and identification packed in your Evac-Pack ahead of time and with you will save you precious time and undue stress when the recovery begins. One more thing worth mentioning. If you find yourself dealing with winter flooding, it can be even more deadly. Reduced hours of daylight and potential power outages can make evacuation more difficult. With floodwaters often just above freezing, cold shock and hypothermia happens fast, greatly reducing your chances for survival in a flood situation. Remember, the safest response is always heed the warnings and evacuate early and evacuate fast. Avoid floodwater. Never drive through it. Seek shelter in a safe location and get warm quickly. The biggest danger isn't the water. It's overconfidence and delay. Remember, floods don't give second chances. So until next time, keep prepping, keep practicing, and stay safe. American Thrivalist out.